We're about to dive into a really powerful ancient perspective on life. It's one that completely challenges a big assumption most of us make. The idea that this life we're living right now is the final destination. But what if it isn't? What if it's something else entirely?
Really let that question sink in for a moment. Think about it. Everything you're working so hard for, all the things you're trying to collect, what if none of that is the actual goal? What if this whole experience is just, a quick stopover on a much, much bigger journey?
Okay, so before we can really dig into that idea, we have to face a fundamental reality first. And I mean a truth that connects every single person who has ever lived, no exceptions. This right here, it's the bedrock of the entire worldview we're going to explore today.
Wow. Yeah. That's about as direct and unflinching as it gets, right? This quote from the Quran doesn't mince words. It's not saying this might happen, it's presented as an absolute certainty. And look, in this way of thinking, bringing this up isn't supposed to be morbid or depressing. Actually, it's the total opposite. It's meant to bring a kind of radical clarity, to set the stage for everything else.
So once you really accept that our time here is limited, it forces you to ask a pretty big follow-up question. What is the true nature of this world we're living in? And the next idea we're going to look at, well, it challenges our everyday perception right down to its core.
Now, that word delusion, it can sound pretty harsh. I get it. But it's not trying to say that life has no joy or beauty. Not at all. The idea here is that the enjoyment itself can be this really powerful distraction. Something that makes us completely forget just how temporary everything really is. Just think about it in your own life. That promotion you're chasing, the perfect social media feed you're trying to build, or those online arguments that feel so incredibly urgent in the moment. They seem all important, right? Almost permanent. Well, this perspective says, nope, they're just fleeting distractions, and their whole job is to pull our attention away from that first, inevitable truth we just talked about.
So, okay, if life is temporary, and its pleasures can be a kind of delusion, where does that leave us? Are we just supposed to be hopeless? No, not at all. The source material for this actually proposes a really powerful and, believe it or not, practical solution. It's all about a complete shift in your mindset.
And this is really the core of the whole idea. It's a piece of advice attributed to the Prophet Muhammad, a central figure in Islam. And he said to live in this world as a stranger or a traveler. Think about that. It's like visiting a foreign country. You can absolutely appreciate the beautiful scenery, you can enjoy the culture, but you never ever forget that you're just passing through. You know your real home is somewhere else.
This comparison just breaks it down so clearly. It really asks the question, are you a settler or are you a traveler? The settler, well, they cling to temporary stuff. They're all about accumulating more and more for this world, and they're terrified of loss and change. But the traveler, they get it. They understand you don't get overly attached to your hotel room. You travel light, and you keep your focus on preparing for the real destination.
And what's so powerful about this is that it's not just some nice, abstract idea. It actually becomes a practical tool for navigating your life. It's like it turns into a form of wisdom, a kind of inner compass that helps guide your choices day in and day out.
And this lays out the two approaches perfectly. The source material suggests that the, ordinary way to live is to just ignore that big truth about our mortality. We just get lost in all those distractions, those delusions we talked about earlier. But the wise person, the traveler, they do the exact opposite. They hold that truth right there in their heart, and they use it as their compass to stay on the right path. So how do you actually put this into practice? Well, it really boils down to this simple three-step way of thinking. Step 1, always remember what is fading. We're talking about worldly success, failures, all the material stuff. Step 2, hold on tight to what you believe is eternal. Things like your character, your principles, the impact you have on other people. And finally, step 3, let that focus guide everything you do to prepare for that real, ultimate destination. And all of this brings us to one final, really powerful question for you to think about. If this life truly is the journey, then what are you packing for the road ahead? And I'm not talking about what's in your suitcase. What are you packing in your soul? What kinds of deeds, what kind of character, what values are you preparing for that final destination? That's the question this ancient wisdom leaves us all to answer for ourselves.